opinions of a character very opposite of theirs, I shall speak forth my sentiments freely and without reserve. This is no time for ceremony. The question before the House is one of awful moment to this country. And for my own part, I consider it as nothing less than a question of freedom or slavery. And in proportion to the magnitude of the subject ought to be the freedom of the debate. It is only in this way that we can hope to arrive at truth and to fulfill the great responsibility which we hold to God and our country. Should I keep back my opinions at such a time for fear of giving offense, I shall consider myself as guilty of treason towards my country and of an active disloyalty towards the majesty of heaven, whom I revere above all earthly kings. Mr. President, it is natural for man to indulge in the illusions of hope. We are apt to shut our eyes against a painful truth and listen to the song of that siren till she transforms us into beasts. Is this the part of wise men engaged in a great and arduous struggle for liberty? Are we disposed to be of the number of those who, having eyes, see not, and having ears, hear not, those things which so nearly concern their temporal salvation? For my part, whatever anguish of spirit it may cost, I am willing to know the whole truth, and to know the works, and to provide for it. I have but one lamp by which my feet are guided, and that is the lamp of experience. I know of no way of judging the future, but by the past. And judging by the past, I wish to know what there has been in the conduct of the British ministry in the past 10 years to justify those hopes with which gentlemen have been pleased to solace themselves in the House. Is it that insidious smile with which our petition has been lately received? Trust it not, sir. It will prove a snare to your feet. Suffer not yourselves to be betrayed with a kiss. Ask yourselves how this gracious reception of our petition comports with those warlike preparations that cover our waters and darken our land. Are fleets and armies necessary to a work of love and reconciliation? Have we shown ourselves so unwilling to be reconciled that force must be called in to win back our love? Let us not deceive ourselves, sir. These are the implements of war and subjugation, the last arguments to which kings resort. I ask gentlemen, sir, what means this martial array? If its purpose be not to force us into submission, can gentlemen assign any other possible motive for it? Has Great Britain any enemy in this quarter of the world to justify all this accumulation of navies and armies? No, sir! She has none. They are meant for us. They cannot be meant for any other. They are meant to bind and rivet upon us those chains which the British ministry has been so long hoarding. And what have we to oppose them? Shall we try argument? Sir, we've been trying that for the past 10 years. Have we anything new to offer upon the subject? Nothing! We have held the subject up in every light of which it is capable, and it has been all in vain. Shall we resort to entreaty and humble supplication? What terms shall we find which have not been already exhausted? Let us not, I beseech you, sir, deceive ourselves. We have done everything that could be done to avert the storm that is now coming on. We have petitioned. We have remonstrated. We have supplicated. We have prostrated ourselves before the throne and implored its interposition to arrest the tyrannical hands of the ministry and parliament. Our petitions have been slighted. Our remonstrances have produced additional violence and insult. Our supplications have been disregarded, and we have been spurned with contempt from the very foot of the throne It is in vain after these things shall we indulge upon hope of peace and reconciliation. There is no longer any room for hope. If we wish to be free, if we mean to preserve inviolate those inestimable privileges for which we have been so long contending, if we mean not basely to abandon the noble struggle in which we have been so long engaged, and which we have pledged ourselves never to abandon until the glorious object of our contest shall be obtained, we must fight! And I repeat it, sir, we must fight! An appeal to arms and the God of hosts is all that has left us. They tell us, sir, that we are weak, unable to cope with so formidable an adversary. But when shall we be stronger? Will it be the next week or the next year? Will it be when we are totally disarmed and a British guard shall be stationed in every house? Shall we gather strength by irresolution and inaction? Shall we acquire the effectual means of resistance by lying supinely on our backs and hugging the delusive phantom of hope till our enemy shall have bound us hand and foot? Sir, we are not weak. If we make a proper use of those means which the God of nature has placed in our power, the 3 millions of people armed in the holy cause of liberty, and in such a country as that which we possess, are invincible by any force our enemy can send against us. Besides, sir, there is a just God who presides over the destinies of nations, and who will raise up friends to fight our battles for us. The battle, sir, is not to the strong alone. It's to the vigilant, the active, the brave. Besides, sir, we have no election if we were base enough to desire it. It is now too late to retire from the contest. There is no retreat but in submission and slavery. Our chains are forged. Their clank may be heard on the plains of Boston. The war is inevitable, and let it come. And I repeat it, sir. Let it come. It is in vain, sir, to extenuate the matter. Gentlemen, they cry, peace, peace. When there is no peace, the war is actually begun. The next gale that sweeps from the north will bring to our ears the clash of resounding arms. Our brethren are already in the field. Why stand we here idle? What is it that gentlemen wish? What would they have? Is life so dear and peace so sweet to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God! I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death! Are you with me? I am honored to be in the presence of all of you who I consider fellow patriots in the desire, the hope, and hopefully the vigilance, the action to be free. And you know as well as I do. Now, if you were back there in 1775 when he gave that speech, I didn't know this until some months back. George Washington was in the room. It was Colonel George Washington at that time. And he agreed that he would be on the committee to have a Virginia militia. And also Thomas Jefferson was there. And Thomas Jefferson agreed that we should do this. But the other delegates, by and large, initially they're too strong for us. Wait, this is treason. All these excuses in a sense. But Patrick Henry was able to have that belief in God so strong that as long as our cause is just, that God would be with us. And what I ask the audience, when I give that speech, is, do you have the spirit of Patrick Henry in you? Because that's the spirit that took our country. He was willing to die for his country. And unless there's a core group of people, now this is just my personal opinion, that are willing to die for this country and die for freedom, it ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen, folks. The government doesn't care what we do here, per se. It's only power. You have to have power. God is that power. When Patrick Henry, you just go through just a few lines of that speech, and where he said, "Should I keep back my opinions at such a time for fear of giving offense? I shall consider myself as guilty of treason towards my country and of an act of disloyalty towards the majesty of heaven, whom I revere above all with the king." So he put the King of England on notice right up front. You're not it, King. God is our Father. And also about being able to say, having the boldness to say what needs to be said when it needs to be said. And I'm struggling with, the morality in this country is far, vastly different than what they face back there. And we're in trouble, even more. We know that. And I know as a Christian man, I'm a Christian man, I love God. I know that I and we have to speak up. We have to be active against the evil that we see in this country. Another thing that he said, 3 millions of people armed in the holy cause of liberty, and in such a country as that which we possess, are invincible by any means. Now, he called it the holy cause of liberty. That was his term. And we have to believe it. How many of y'all believe it's the holy cause of liberty? You have to be thinking like this. Shall we gather strength by irresolution and inaction? Shall we acquire the effectual means of resistance by lying supinely on our backs and hugging the delusive hand of hope till our enemy shall have bound us hand and foot? You know that's what's going on. Absolutely what's happening. So yes, I'm privileged to be here among you. I consider you, and I'm sure a core group of people that are thinking like Patrick Henry did, that want our country free and are willing to put it on the line. He said, the battle, sir, was not for the strong alone. It's for the vigilant, the active, the brave. Are you going to be vigilant in the cause of freedom? You have to be there. Are you determined to be active in the pursuit of liberty? You have to be thinking there. That has to be a pursuit. Are you going to be brave in the fight against tyranny? Because believe me, tyranny will put up a fight. They're not going to lay down at all. This is the way it is. That famous line, "Give me liberty, give me death," I think was, in Patrick, he was a very religious man, obviously. I think was motivated by a profound example of love that's found in the Scriptures. Remember Jesus, the night of he was with the Passover feast. He was eating with the disciples. And he said, "One of you is going to betray me." And they said, "Who is it, Lord?" And he said, "It's the one who dips with me in the stock." And it was Judas. Judas left. He said, "Judas, what you're going to do it quickly." So Jesus knew the next day he's going to go on the cross. This is it. This is the last night. He turned to his disciples, this is in John, I think, 13, and said, "A new commandment I give to you, that you..." Now, before this, when he was asked what the greatest commandment was, he said, to love God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength. He said the second greatest commandment was to love your neighbor as yourself. Am I right on this? Yes. Okay. Now, on the eve of his crucifixion, he says, "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another as I love you." He didn't say that before. He said that on the eve of his crucifixion because he proved it by being on the cross, willing to sacrifice himself for mankind. Now that's, I think, the thinking of Patrick Henry. That he was willing to sacrifice himself for his family, for his country, for God.
in the holy cause of liberty. That's the spirit that took our country and made our country free. And that's the spirit that I strive to have in me, and that I pray for you